So, welcome to Tapping Through Turbulence, EFT for Economic and Political Fears. So, if you are here, I'm going to assume, hold on, it should be going to the speaker view, which I'm not seeing it do. So, I just want to make sure it's doing that. If you are here, I'm going to go ahead and assume that you feel a little bit stressed by what is going on in the world. Leanne, can you help me make sure it's showing one of the participants? I just want the recording to make sure that it's on the speaker. Who's me? Can you maybe pin me? Or just make sure it's on speaker. What?
I think it's okay. It looked like
Okay. Okay, cool. So you guys, I am going to give you a tool today that will almost unbelievably take your stress levels down. And I want to tell you a little bit first about why you're so stressed. Nothing about politics. We're actually not going to talk about that much here today. Nothing about the economy. I'm not an expert on that, but I am an expert in helping you to feel less stressed. And I'm going to show you through EFT tapping how to do that, but I want you to understand a little bit about your brain and how it's wired and why this thing that I'm going to show you that involves going like this, why that would work. And the reason I want to show you why it would work is so that you will do it, because otherwise it just seems like this crazy thing you saw this woman online doing, and you're not going to be able to really use it. You will be able to, but you'll be really tempted not to, because it just seems like not real. And it is real. So a little bit about your brain and why you might feel so fearful and so anxious and be in that state a lot. Our brains are wired to look for what is wrong in our environment, to look for what's a threat. And that's for a pretty good reason. And that is because centuries and centuries ago, when there was some human being standing in a field and looking at some really pretty flowers, and then a tiger came, if that human kept looking at the pretty flowers, they would have died, right? And the human that focused on the tiger would have run away and would have hopefully lived and reproduced. And so that was our ancestor. The people who focused on what was a threat were the ones who lived. And so our brains are wired to focus on what's dangerous. So we're constantly looking out for what's dangerous. Now, that's further complicated by the fact that we are teaching our brains all the time what to keep on focusing on by what we tell it is important. So you've probably noticed this phenomenon when you learned a new word and then you started to see that word everywhere, or you did some research to get a new car and you decided you wanted a Subaru and you were like, oh, it'd be so cool to have a red Subaru. And suddenly you start seeing red Subarus everywhere, right? And it's not that there were more red Subarus, it's that you trained your brain. Hey, red Subarus are important to me. I'm researching them, I'm looking at them, I'm thinking about them, I'm getting excited and happy when I think about them. And so your brain is like, okay, got it. And it's looking for more red Subarus. And it does the exact same thing when we see stuff in the news that's upsetting to us or concerning to us. And that's why we go into fight or flight or freeze or fawn a lot. They keep adding more F's. I'm just going to call it fight or flight now. You guys have probably all heard of the fight or flight response that originates in a little part of your brain called the amygdala. And what I want you to know, what happens when you go into fight or flight, physiologically, what happens is that your blood rushes, not all of it, but a lot of it rushes to your hands or your feet to fight or flee, fight or flight. Now, this would be good if you were, crossing the street and a car doesn't pay attention to the stop sign and it's going to mow you down and you jump out of the way. But it's not so great when, again, you're just looking at the news, looking at your phone, looking at your TV, talking to your friends. It's not so great to be in fight or flight all the time. And you notice that you stop sleeping well and you stop being able to enjoy your life. And you also stop being able to really take action, because I'm not trying to tell you one thing or another about the political situation. What I'm trying to say here is that not only, mainly, I just want you guys to feel better, and we're going to get to that in just a second. But also, if you are really upset about what's going on, well, maybe that makes sense. And maybe you can do something about it, take action. But you know how you cannot take action? When you're in fight or flight, because the blood rushes to your hands or your feet and away from your frontal lobe. And what is the frontal lobe good at? Thinking. It's good at logic. It's good at planning. And if you are in fight or flight most of the time, your thinking part of your brain is offline. So there's really not that much you can do except for feel panic and spread panic. And that's not so helpful. So not only is this tapping, which takes your stress level down, going to help you to feel better, but it's ultimately going to help the world too, because you'll be better able to take action, better able to do something really useful and good in your community for those that you see that are hurting, better able to get more training so you can get a better job or get a job that you've lost, network, get out there and do a lot of job interview, whatever it is that you need to do, you'll be able to do. So why would tapping on, because what we're doing, what we're going to do in a minute is tap on the end points of meridians. Why would we do that? Why would that help? Because remember I said the amygdala is that little part of your brain where the fight or flight response is housed. The thing about the amygdala is it's not in direct contact with the language areas of your brain. So that when somebody tells you to calm down, always very helpful, right? You always just calm right down when somebody tells you to calm down. No, it doesn't help. It doesn't even really help when you yourself tell yourself to calm down, because your amygdala doesn't get that. And your amygdala is the part of you that is in fight or flight, that is stimulating that fight or flight response where the blood goes away from the thinking part of your brain. That's why we tap, because the amygdala does understand this stimulating the endpoints of meridians. You may be more familiar with this with the concept of acupuncture. And acupuncture works. It stimulates the endpoints of meridians with needles. But the thing is, you can't go to acupuncture every time you go into the fight or flight response, because that might be 10 times a day. So we can do a very similar thing with our own fingertips. Okay, so I know I'm going a little bit fast, but that was the reason that tapping works. And now I'm going to show you the tapping points real quick. So this is called the setup point. It's about halfway between the top and the bottom of the side of your hand. You can see I'm tapping with 2 fingers because, you know, I don't know exactly where the point is. I'm not an acupuncturist, but I know if I'm tapping with 2 fingers, it's under there somewhere. I'm going to hit it. Okay. And then the top of your head. So if you drew a line from your ears up, it would be right in the center. And then the inner point of your eyebrow. It's not really here on your third eye where a lot of people think it is. It's the inner point of your eyebrow. You can use one or the other or both. Just outside the eye. It's not on your temple. It won't hurt you to tap there. That's just not where the point is. It's right on the side of your eye, under your eye. So you're kind of following this bone around under your nose, on your chin. And then where your collarbones are, it's about 2 inches below there. You can go a little harder on that point. And then about 4 inches under the deepest part of your armpit, right there. Okay, those are the points. And don't worry, as we keep tapping on them, you'll just kind of memorize them automatically. So, is there any brave person who wants to come forward and do a little session? Otherwise, I'll have to do it on myself, which is fine. Is anybody feeling like, and what we're going to tap on, by the way, is not like the facts about the politics or the economic. Like I said, we're going to tap on the emotion. So it could be something like, even though I feel really scared about what's happening in the world, I feel scared. Does anybody want to come forward, or should I just keep going on my own example?
I'll do it if nobody else wants to. I would love
Oh, let's do it, Suzanne. So start here. And what is it? So the important thing is, you guys, there's words, but the most important thing is just to tap. So even if you can't think of what to say, you can tap. It's called tap and breathe. You can just 2 deep breaths on each point, and you can tap and breathe. Okay. But since Suzanne has come forward, let's ask Suzanne, what is the major feeling? So back to your setup point for now, Suzanne. What are you feeling right now in general about the political or economic situation? I mean, there must be a reason you came here today.
Well, personally, I just feel sad.
Sad.
Uh,
Let's start there.
okay.
Yeah. So you feel sad. Yeah. And so these are the questions you would ask yourself, you guys, as you're going to do this on yourself. So that sadness, where do you feel it in your body? You might have to close your eyes for a moment and kind of focus on it, because we're used to just saying, oh, I feel sad. We may not be used to locating it in our body. Where do you feel it in your body? Your heart, your gut, your eyes, where are you feeling it?
I feel it in like three different places. Um, but
Where are the 3 different places?
I feel it in my jaw.
Mm-hmm.
Feel it in my heart, and I
Mm-hmm.
feel it in like my second chakra, pelvis area.
Okay, got it. So it makes sense, right? You're feeling the sadness in those 3 places. And if you had to rate this, excuse me, on a scale of 0 to 10, the sadness, 10 being the absolute worst, where would you put it right now? And you can open your eyes again so you can follow me tapping.
I would put it at an 8.
8. Wow, you seem so calm too. And we're all used to like going through our day, right? Except we're really like in this fight or flight. So I want you to repeat after me. And if I'm saying any words that like just don't resonate with you, either just change the words or just tell me I can't say that. Because some people tap and say basically affirmations, sort of they're hoping to feel this way. That's not really how we do it in EFT tapping. We're really honest about how we actually feel right now, and that acknowledging our feelings helps the feelings to feel like, thank you, you saw me, and now I can flow out. Okay. But first, we have to just really see them. So I want you to say something like this: even though I feel sad,
Even though I feel sad,
I understand why I would feel sad. Is that true?
I understand why I would feel sad.
Even though I feel sad, I am just letting that sadness be for now.
Even though I feel sad, I'm letting that sadness be for now.
Okay. And then so open your eyes so you can follow me. I know that people who know theta healing keep closing their eyes during this and then they can't follow the tapping. So the top of your head. So you could just repeat the phrase over and over, but that can get boring. So I'm going to have you say, this sadness that I feel in my jaw and did you say heart?
Yeah, heart.
And my heart and like my pelvic area, it's at an 8. Say something like that.
This sadness I feel in my jaw, my heart, and my pelvic area is an 8.
And then inner eyebrows. And it's really hard.
And it's really hard.
I feel it. What does it feel like, Suzanne? I'm actually asking you now. Does it feel like a weight or a hollowness or a knot? What does it feel like?
It feels heavy.
This heaviness that I'm carrying around.
This heaviness that I'm carrying around.
And then under the eyes. And I'm assuming everybody is doing this, right? Everybody is tapping as we say this. And you can say, since you guys are muted, you can say your own thing or you can follow along with what we're saying. This sadness is really heavy.
This sadness is really heavy.
And I understand. And then under your nose, I understand how I would feel that way. There's just one hand under your nose. Yeah.
And how I would feel that way.
On the chin. Sometimes things in the world make me really sad.
Sometimes things in the world make me really sad.
Good. And then about 2 inches under the collarbones. And I'm just seeing my sadness now.
And I'm just seeing my sadness now.
And then about 4 inches under the deepest part of your underarm. And I feel compassion for myself in this sadness. Is that true?
I feel compassion for myself in this sadness. Yes.
Good. Go back up. This sadness is heavy and I carry it around all the time.
This sadness is heavy and I carry it around all the time.
And inner eyebrow, I understand it, but I'm tired of it.
I understand it, but I'm tired of it.
I accept all my emotions. Is that true?
Yes, I accept
This
it.
is good. This is what we want to do, you guys. We find the emotion and then we understand why we would have it. And then we say, you know, I accept my emotions. It makes sense.
I accept my emotions. It makes sense.
And then we even feel compassion for ourselves, if possible. I feel compassion for myself around this. This is hard.
I feel compassionate for myself around this. This is hard.
And I'm tired. And under your nose, I'm tired of carrying this sadness around.
I'm tired of carrying this sadness around.
It's heavy.
It's heavy.
I would love for this sadness to flow out of me. Under the collarbones, yeah.
I would love for this sadness to flow out of me.
And I invite this sadness to flow out of me.
And I invite this sadness to flow out of me.
So now keeping on tapping, going back to the top. Good job, by the way. Check in with it again. Is it feeling still like an 8? Did it go up because we're talking about it, or did it go down because we're tapping on it?
It went down.
Good. Where would you put it about now on that scale of 0 to 10?
I will put it at a 6.
6. Okay. So good. It only went down 2 points, you notice? And of course, we want it to be lower than that. But this is why we use this scale so that you can see, oh, I still feel pretty crappy. But it's not that it didn't work. It's that it's starting to work. So I'm going to keep on doing it. Okay. So, and sometimes it does go up because, like I said, we're so used to walking around like this that we're just used to it. And once we focus on it, it's like, oh, good. Thank God you're finally talking to me. I have a lot to say. You know, maybe your sadness has a lot to say. But in Suzanne's case, it started to go down, you know, pretty quickly. So now we're at a 6, but we don't want to stay there. We want to keep tapping. Is there anything else other than sadness coming up? Is there any anger or any like hopelessness or any anxiety? Anything else under there, or just mainly the sadness?
In regards to the state of our country, I'm fearful.
Fearful. So there's some fear. Okay. So let's just add that in the mix because it's, you know, it's in there with the sadness. Okay. So under the sadness, there's some fear.
Yeah.
So say that under my sadness, there's some fear.
There's some fear.
And then under your arms, I really, I don't feel great about this. I feel afraid.
I don't feel great about this. I feel afraid.
And I'm just looking at that now and then back up to the top.
And I'm just looking at that now.
And I'm like letting my fear be there.
I'm letting my fear be there. Be there.
Because all my emotions are okay to have.
Because all my emotions are okay to have.
And I'm just asking you now, where are you feeling the fear in your body, Susan?
It's kind of in my eyes.
In your eyes. So it might be kind of like sometimes you feel a pressure behind your eyes that almost wants to come out in tears, but we don't want to walk around crying all the time. So we just kind of keep it back there. Okay. So we're letting it be now. So this fear behind my eyes, that where's the fear at? Is it at a 6 also, or?
I think the fear is like a 4.
Okay. So I have this fear at like a 4.
I actually think I should be more fearful, but somehow, but I, but somehow I'm like, I don't know, we'll figure it out somehow.
But that's good. That's your hope coming in. That's your brain coming online and going, we have to figure this out instead of staying that fight or flight. So we love that. So we're like, oh, I see fear and then I see like logic. So you can say that. I see fear and I see logic.
I see fear and I see logic.
And I'm just recognizing the fear right now.
I'm just recognizing the fear right now.
And it's okay to feel afraid sometimes.
And it's okay to feel afraid sometimes.
And then under the arms, and I accept all my emotions.
I accept all my emotions.
And then see if this is true for you. This is a big deal, but I think maybe you can do it. And I love myself. Is that truthful to say?
Yeah, I love myself.
Okay. So if you guys, if you can't quite get to I love myself because you start thinking, no, there's this and this and this wrong with me, don't say I love myself, because otherwise you'll just activate an argument in yourself. You could say like, I would love to love myself. Someday I hope to love myself, anything. But Suzanne feels like it's okay and truthful to say that. So she's going to say it. So Suzanne, now try this. Even though I have this sadness and this fear, I love myself.
Even though I have this sadness and this fear, I love myself.
Good. You're outside the line. Yeah, under the eye. I love and accept all my emotions.
I love and accept all my emotions.
I love and accept myself.
I love and accept myself.
So you see what we're doing. You don't have to say this part. You see what we're doing here, you guys, is we're bringing the emotions into a safe place. And we're saying, hey, how do I actually feel, Jen? Yeah. And with the tapping, we're saying, okay, I do feel this way, and it's okay. Under the collarbones, I do feel this. I do feel this sadness. I do feel this fear, or whatever your feelings are. And it's okay. All feelings welcome. I understand all feelings. I have compassion for all feelings. And then we invite them to flow out. So under the arms, good. So this fear and this sadness, just say that much.
This fear and this sadness.
It's okay that they're there. Like, I get it.
It's okay that they're there. I get it.
I would love for those to flow out of me.
I would love for these to flow out of me.
And I think they are moving. Do you feel them moving in your body, or are they staying in the same place and just kind of lessening?
It's lighter.
Getting lighter. Okay. What would you love to have to feel instead of the sadness and the fear?
Joy and pleasure.
Joy and pleasure. I love that. Hardly anybody ever says pleasure. I love that. Joy and pleasure. And we need pleasure in our lives. Okay. So we're just going to say that I do feel some sadness and fear sometimes.
I do feel some sadness and fear sometimes.
And that's okay. And I would love to flow those out.
I would love to flow those out.
And I invite in joy and pleasure.
And I invite in joy and pleasure.
Under the collarbones. What would joy and pleasure feel like in your body?
Ooey.
Did you say sweet?
Ooey.
Ooey. Yeah. Did you say gooey or ooey?
Like ooey. Like ooey.
Ooey. Yeah. It would feel ooey. Would it feel like in your heart and in your head, kind of like light?
It would feel bright, yeah.
Bright. So just think about that for a sec. Under your arms, say, I am feeling this fear and sadness.
I'm feeling this fear and sadness.
I would love to welcome in joy and pleasure.
I would love to welcome in joy and pleasure.
Back to the top of the head. And if you had to rate the sadness on that scale of 0 to 10 now, where would it be?
Like between, it's like a 3.
Good. Going down. And how about the fear?
It's a 2.
About a 2?
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys, are you seeing how as you tap, and I didn't time it, but I think we've been doing this about 10 minutes or so. We went from an 8 to a 3. And if Suzanne and I had just been talking about the political and economic situation and about how sad and fearful she felt or I felt, I don't think it would have gone down. I think it might have even gone up. So it's the tapping that's making the difference. We're drawing our attention to something that's bothering us, and then we're tapping on it to let that little fight or flight center of our brain know there are these emotions, and it's okay. It's okay. The tapping is doing that work of talking to the fight or flight response. So as you imagine this, Suzanne, the possibility of there being joy and pleasure, is that coming in a little bit more strongly?
Yes.
Okay. And does it still feel ooey?
And airy.
And airy, yeah. So now we're going to just tap and breathe out this last cycle of tapping. Because again, you guys, if you're not quite sure what to say, always tap and breathe, okay? And try to breathe really as deeply as you can in, hold it for a few moments, and then as deeply as you can out. And remember, we're recognizing what the emotions are, probably one at a time, so you don't get too overwhelmed. And we're saying, even though I feel this sadness or this fear or this anxiety, whatever it is, I accept my emotions. I have compassion for myself. I understand it, and I invite it to flow out. And if you want to, you can invite something else to flow in. You might not even be able to think of anything, though, and that's okay. The main thing that the tapping is doing is acknowledging and accepting and flowing out those emotions that are putting you into fight or flight. And this enables you to be more of a force for good in the world and certainly in your own life. So, Suzanne, thank you very much for volunteering. We are at 1:30, so I know people might need to go. If somebody else wants to have a quick turn, I'm happy to stay on a little bit longer. Does anybody else want to have a quick turn, or is everybody like, no, I totally get it? Or does anybody have any questions also?
What does ETF stand for?
Oh, it's EFT.
EFT.
And yeah, that's a good question. It stands for Emotional Freedom Technique.
Oh.
Actually, it's Emotional Freedom Techniques, because tapping is one of the techniques of emotional freedom. It's usually the one that people use, and then there's a lot of others. Actually, you can go to beyondyourbelief.com, which is my website, and find out more about EFT. I love that there's tons of research behind EFT. They've used it with veterans with intractable, not depression. What am I trying to say? The trauma. Somebody help me. What is it?
Post-traumatic stress.
Yeah, PTSD, that had not responded to other techniques, and they've used EFT with them in clinical trials, and they have found that EFT is incredibly effective, even with intractable PTSD, which is, I'm like, if it can work for people who have been in a war, it can probably work for how anxious I feel about, whatever's bothering me. So there's more info on my website, beyondyourbelief.com. You can also, if you guys want to, I do sessions. If you want to, hold on, are we putting it in the chat? Yeah, the website is in the chat. Leon threw it in there for us. And also you can just do a little 20-minute chat with me if you're interested in doing some sessions. This is what I do. This is one of the techniques that I do. Yeah, any other questions about tapping, EFT? Sometimes I just say tapping, but it's really EFT tapping. It's sort of the clinical version of tapping. Yeah. Any other questions?
Thank you
Did
so
anybody, what'd you say, Susan?
Oh, thank you so much.
Oh, you're so welcome. You got to go.
I have my my bestie in town from Rochester with her
Oh,
daughter.
nice.
So
Okay. Yeah, go
thank you.
show them the city.
Yeah.
You are so welcome, Susan. Anytime I want to do what I can to, support people because it is kind of rough times and this stuff works, you guys. Did anybody else start to feel better just by tapping along? Because usually it does help.
I've been
Even
tapping for a while now, and I love tapping. It really does help
it's
a lot.
amazing, isn't it? Sometimes even I am like, if I get really, okay, thank you, Susan. I know people have to go. If I get really upset about something, I'm like, I should tap. And then I have this thought, even though I've been doing this for years professionally, I have this thought, oh, that's not going to work. I'm too upset. It is going to work. If I can get myself to do it, which I usually can, it's surprisingly effective. It's just different from what we're used to. We're used to more talking, but that's why it's effective, I think, because we're tapping on those endpoints of the meridians. Anybody else have any questions? Otherwise,
Thank you very much. It was
you're
very
so
nice. I
welcome.
do appreciate the method quite a bit.
It's cool, right?
Very
Yeah.
cool. And it's
Yeah.
very generous of you to offer it the way you are.
Yeah.
So thank
Yeah,
you.
of course. You're so welcome. Okay, you guys, thank you all so much. Hope to see you again. Take
Bye.
care and let me know any questions. You can email me with any questions about tapping, by the way. It's pretty easy, but you might, come up with some questions, and that's fine. If you want to email me, I'm at tara@beyondyourbelief.com. And everybody will get the replay, whether you were here in person or if you're watching. Well, obviously, if you're watching the replay, there's a replay. Okay. Bye, you guys.